Hi, Batty.
Basky. Welcome to the Town of Basketball and Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Adam Hess, and with me, as always, he's desperately trying to take the throne as the king of town alone by stealing my intros. It's Mike Regan. Mike, how you doing today?
I try, but I fail because I can't get the It's a Basky quite as good as you. You are the master of the It's a Basky.
It's a Basky. What's going to happen if we ever have to introduce another podcast I'm hosting? First off, you'll find me swinging from the roof. But assuming that I don't immediately kill myself when we introduce a third podcast into the rotation, what's that intro going to be like? What's it going to be? It's going to be a whole new world, Mike.
Depends on what kind of podcast it is.
You're right. If it's a podcast about screaming in Sudanese, my intro will probably be in Sudanese.
Like if it was a baseball podcast, it would be like, "Thank you for tuning in, all you 50-plus-year-old white guys."
Right, because our current core audience isn't 50-plus-year-old white guys.
It's all hot chicks. Ever since we started doing the video pod, all the hot chicks are rolling in.
Why are you standing on my phone? My cat's standing on my phone. I guess I'm not going to be able to check my phone, which is fine. Look, you can see your little ear right there. Here.
Oh, little ear.
Tune into the video podcast to see a little bit of a cat's face. Mike, we are in fact not a baseball... Okay, it is so distracting with her in the corner of my screen. Can you calm down? Mike, we are not a cat-based podcast or even a baseball-based podcast. We are, in fact, a hockey-based podcast. Brought to you by the same people that brought you a hockey podcast last week. Brought you a hockey podcast last week. Brought you a, how about this? The people that brought you a short saying that the Oilers would have won more playoff games with Dan Vladar a day before Dan Vladar got eliminated from the playoffs. But Mike, we're not here to talk about Dan Vladar unless he comes up. Let me see. Hold on. I would be surprised if we talk about Dan Vladar.
More like Vladun, am I right?
Dan Vladauda here.
Dan Vladarted out of the playoffs.
More like Stan Darsh.
Yeah.
Mike, as the core YouTube hockey podcast, we have a lot of things we have to cover that we haven't discussed yet. First off, should we start like a holy war with the Spitting Chicklets guys? You think that would do well for our numbers?
I don't think we should. I think we have to start with someone else, like maybe Elliot Friedman with 32 Thoughts. We'll start there, and then we'll move up to
here's the problem.
Barstool.
Here's the problem, right? RA, I think I could take him. Elliot Friedman, he's got like that quiet, long beard. We're like, just looking at him, I'm like, I think I could take Elliot Friedman. But everyone with a beard that long, you're like, that guy might secretly be able to fuck me up, and I just don't know about it.
You would you would pick a fight with Elliot Friedman, and then all of a sudden he would pick a hockey stick, like pull it out of his pants, and just right into your teeth.
Yeah. It's either that or like with his quiet energy, it's kind of like Donnie Yen and Ip Man. Like Elliot Friedman might do like Taiwanese martial arts every single day of his life from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. to get himself in that Zen headspace to go report on, Bruce Cassidy potentially being hired by the Edmonton Oilers or whatever.
Yeah, he just get behind you, put you in a sleeper, and be like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Right. But like you would still be looking at an image of him standing in front of you while he's choking you out from behind, right? Like he's like a 95th level master of whatever, like Taiwanese ninjutsu.
If we did pick a fight with Spittin' Chicklets and Barstool, the one upside is I would be for it as long as it ended with me and Dave Portnoy like in a UFC ring. Because if there's any man on the planet, I'd love to just punch square in the face. It's that man. I cannot stand him.
I cannot tell you how often my co-host's hate of Dave Portnoy comes up on this podcast. I don't know how frequently you keep up with the Baskies Tyler and I do, but Tyler has an irrational anger about Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews.
Dave Portnoy is like the universe when they created him. They were like, what if we took all the worst possible stereotypes about people from Boston and made it into a human, and it's Dave Portnoy?
Think, that guy is richer than you and I will ever be combined.
Spittin' Chicklets is the only Barstool product that I actually like. Like, I like Biz, I like Ryan Whitney. Those guys are cool. They do some good content, but that's it.
Make good vodka too. Tastes like Skittles.
Mhm.
Here's my problem with Spinny Chiclets. I've listened to it a few times. It is indecipherable what Biz says on that show.
He's got such like a hockey player accent.
I
Canadian
cannot
hockey player accent.
understand a fucking word that guy says.
He's a good Twitter follow though.
I'm not on Twitter, unlike you sheep.
He also jumped on the Sabres bandwagon. He also, after the hiring of the con artist Child by Toronto for GM, he said he was done with the Leafs. He turned on his own team. He said he's fucking done.
Hey, you want to start there?
Up for Shane Dane.
John Chayka did his second big thing after rigging the lottery.
Chayka.
He canned Craig Berube.
Can't wait for them to like trade that pick for like 40-year-old Sidney Crosby.
He's coming home.
Coming home. I'm coming home.
Mike, what do you think? Craig Berube, sacrificial lamb or merit-based firing? Oh my god! I could make the thumbnail for this podcast a Photoshop picture of a lamb with Craig Berube's face in a halo.
Yeah, I don't think
that was the correct response.
I don't think Craig Berube had a great made the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year, right? And they got knocked out in round 2, I believe.
They won the first round. Yeah.
They get knocked out by the Panthers again?
They got knocked out by the Panthers again.
Yeah. That's fun. They like to do that. Like, they got knocked out by the Lightning 2 years in a row. And they got knocked out by the Panthers 2 years in a row. It's rough. But I don't think he had, the best roster to work with this year. But still, I get it. Because, Toronto's one of those markets where it's we got we have, a star franchise player, Matthews, plus, a 1B in William Nylander. So we expect success. And so if you don't have it, then you're done. So I get it. Plus, it fits what's going on in Toronto right now. It's a full changing. It's a full sweep. I'm not surprised. You change GM, it's totally understandable for him to be I want to bring in my own coach.
It is funny the way that the context changes things. I think everyone in the hockey world, Leafs fan or not, was all right, Craig Berube is not really it. I mean, he's a mid-tier coach who has a ring off of an insane run in, what was that, 2017, 2018?
2018, 2019, he won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was after we traded Ryan O'Reilly to St. Louis. And then he went on to win the Selke, maybe. I know he won the Cup, and he also won the Conn Smythe that year. And Sabres fans were upset.
It's crazy that this didn't come up, that they weren't kind enough to return the favor by trading you Ryan Thomas.
Robert
Thomas.
Yeah, and that bastard Parayko was I don't want to go to Buffalo. There's no palm trees.
I said Ryan Thomas, and I was one of those two names is wrong, but I can't figure out which one was.
Sounds like a golfer.
Yeah, Berube's out. I think that it was pretty justifiable firing. I will also say this. I know he's had his injury issues recently, and it's been a struggle with the team, but it's not great that Austin Matthews went from being a borderline 70 goal scorer to scoring 50 goals over the course of the last 2 years.
Yeah, under Berube, there's been a drop, and there's been some injuries, but there's also been a drop, and that could be a part of it, where you have to sit back and look at it and be all right, is this coach, running a system or an offensive scheme that is getting our best players scheme that is, fits our best players so they can succeed. And maybe they feel like he wasn't. I mean, you can make an argument just looking at the numbers and say that he wasn't.
I remember what I was trying to say earlier. But getting back to that, I like the way that perception changes things. I think everyone would say Craig Berube wasn't it. It wasn't a good hiring in the first place. Undo your mistakes now. But the fact that John Chayka is the one who fired him after having that disastrous press conference, I've seen some discourse coming through that's Berube got dealt a bad hand and was fired way too soon. They should have given him some time to work with his incoming talent.
That's the thing where
you guys are just flipping because you don't like John Chayka, which I get.
Right.
Dan Snyder could have cured cancer when he owned the Commanders, and I would have been I think cancer's good for humans. So I understand
I
it.
could have cured cancer. Not that hard. Get done it.
If I had a super yacht, I could have cured cancer. So I get it.
Also,
sometimes
it's not
your hate outshines your logic, but let's all be real. The correct decision was to fire Craig Berube and hire, I don't know, who's the next guy off that pile of the same people. Is Rick Tocchet going to be available? Can they hire Rick Tocchet?
Probably not. I think Philly's pretty happy with him. It wasn't Berube's fault that the front office mismanaged cap a little bit and then gave in to the fans' notion that Mitch Marner was the problem and sent him to Vegas, where
Yeah,
he's now leading the playoff in points.
They mismanaged cap. They had a couple of bad trades that they undid, like the Scott Lawton trade, which, credit where credit's due. You made a bad trade and you didn't sink your heels in and say we're going to stick with it. You got off the player for basically
Masai Ujiri would never.
Yeah, Masai Ujiri went, actually, I'm gonna sign him to an extension, and then after you fire me, you're gonna sign him to another one. Anyways, have fun with Masai Ujiri in Dallas. For those of you who don't watch basketball, that was a very funny joke by Mike.
Right. Google Jakob Podol. You'll get
it. Yeah, if you can figure out how to spell it from Mike saying that, Google it. Wait, people, it's a hockey podcast. He plays in Toronto. You guys know who Jakob Podol is.
Exactly. That was the connection.
Yeah. Oh, that was even better than I thought. I was giving you credit because I thought the Masai Ujiri joke was funny. You know what, Mike? Next level guy. Next level thinker.
Thank you.
He's a thinker.
There's layers to this podcast game, Adam. There's layers to it.
But also, Toronto had a window for a while, and shit fell apart in the playoffs for many reasons. They're the team under a giant magnifying glass because they're Toronto. Mm-hmm. So those reasons always seemed a little bit more overstated and outspoken. But in reality, what we're seeing here isn't mismanagement by management so much as they went all in and now their window is slammed shut. And so you got to make changes. Guess what? When San Jose's window slammed shut, they moved Joe Thornton out of town and were bad for the next decade. When Montreal's window coming out of the COVID bubble slammed shut, they tanked, got better players in the door, and now they're a couple wins away from a conference final. When Buffalo's window slammed shut, they simply didn't make the playoffs for 14 years. Sometimes your window slams shut and you have to retool and come out on the other side. Some teams do it faster than others, but that's what this is. The Matthews, Marner, Nylander era has come to an end. You have the first overall pick. You brought in a new GM, the child prodigy, John Chayka, who has been dubbed, quote, a snake oil salesman. You have new ownership. Maybe it's time to make some big sweeping changes, and if Craig Berube is the first domino to fall, I don't see why it has to be the last one.
Yeah. But that roster needs so much work. So I feel like you're either, you could go heavy rebuild and talk to Matthews, and if he's like, yeah, I don't see myself re-signing. I don't want to be here. Once the short-term deal you put me on is up, then you can start going that way. You draft Gavin McKenna.
Wouldn't be really funny.
And you start rebuilding that way because my God, you look at this roster, and after after Matthews and Nylander, and then an old John Tavares, it gets rough. They're if you go to Daily Face Off and pull up their lines, when they finish the season, Easton Cohen was on their top line on the left wing with John Tavares and William Nylander. Yeah. They have on their second line at right wing they had Nicholas Robertson, who I think they were just hoping because he shares the last name with Jason would be good. It is brutal.
Now I do just want to pitch a couple of potential fixes for them. Some guys who are available if they really are dead set on not flipping it all over to a new regime. I have some classic Toronto style players who are going to be available this year.
Trade a first for Brendan Carlo again.
They don't even need to trade a first for any of these people. They can sign them. Mike.
Okay.
John Carlson, pending free agent, 38-year-old defenseman.
Yeah.
Wily veteran defenseman, seems like a Toronto guy.
Ducks kept trying to trade him to me in my franchise mode in Chell, and I was like, no, I don't I'm shedding cap in a rebuild. I don't want old man John Carlson. His contract was expiring, but still.
That doesn't work for you. How about another Duck stalwart, another veterin defenseman on his way out the door?
Did you say Chris
Jacob
Kreider?
Trouba?
Oh, okay.
Jacob Trouba? Yeah. That do anything for you?
Between Trouba and Kreider, how many former Rangers do the Ducks have?
Just those two, I think.
That's still more than
trade for Adam Fox. Last one here.
Yeah.
Another wily veteran, a leader of men, Anders Lee, available free agent this offseason. They signed all three of those guys for a 6x6 each. Next year they come in and they're going to win 38, 39 games.
There's no way Trouba's getting a 6x6.
There's no way any of them are getting a 6x6. Although, that being said, Mike, as I smoothly transition, set up perfectly. Thank you. Did you see who did get a 6x6?
Who?
Friend of the pod, Charlie Coyle, re-signs with the Columbus Blue Jackets on a 6x6. Mike, for those of you who are not versed in NHL contract discussion, a 6x6 means he has signed for $6 million a year for 6 years. Nice and simple, right?
Tell you what, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but can I keep it a buck? Of all like the major sports leagues, NHL contracts are like the easiest to understand.
Yes, because they are simply the AAV.
Yeah.
But Mike, that means he is going to be on the Columbus Blue Jackets, or at least under contract with Columbus Blue Jackets, presuming no trades, until his age
40?
40 season.
He's 40? Oh my
Mike.
God. What are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a little tough. I would love to real quick here pull up and see if he has any trade restrictions. Oh, Mike, let's play a quick game here, if you're not already looking at it, of can we move him? Mike, Charlie Coyle
I'm going to say
is a
modified no trade.
34-year-old right shot center and right wing. He had a career year last year in a breakout season for a lot of mismatched pieces along the Columbus Blue Jackets. 6x6 signed earlier this week. You are going with a modified no trade.
Yeah.
Mike, for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons, Mr. Charlie Coyle has a full no move clause.
Charlie Coyle has a full no move?
Then, for the final 2 seasons, in which time Charlie Coyle, a man who has a career high in total points 53? Of 58 points,
58, okay,
will have a 20-team no-trade list.
Oh, boy. I'm like glad the Blue Jackets didn't make the playoffs. They kind of deserve it.
You know what? Zach Werenski might be the best defenseman in the league, and I'm still like, come on, guys, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
I cannot wait. We are going to have some sick off-season podcasts about NHL players because it is a disgusting free agency class, and
the best part is
they're going to get super overpaid. They're like Alex Tuch might get $13 million a year if he hits the market.
He might. I'm starting to sway on my. I love Alex Tuch, but I'm starting to sway on my opinion of like, all right, we don't have a shitload of cap space, and I don't know if we can afford to give him what he might want, unless he's going to take a sweetheart deal. Might be time to say thank you, Alex, but we got to move on.
Yeah, if he wants to stick around at a city discount rate, Alex Tuch is a great fit. But Alex Tuch for $11 million is not worth it.
Yeah, a couple months ago we were texting about it, and I said like probably getting like $9 million a year. But that, well, because like the NHL for the last 4 years, every time someone signs a contract, the analysis is like, in a few years that's going to be a great deal when the cap keeps going up. You're like, all right.
Yeah, basically the only.
What about next year?
The only prime age player outside of Alex Tuch, of any note who's going to be available, and even Alex Tuch is 30. Like he's not like 26 years old. The only prime age player, yeah, just the tail end of his prime as a professional athlete, is the veteran of 5 games last year, Patrick Laine. Outside of that, everyone's old as fuck. Yeah,
I was scanning the free agent list while we were talking, and I was like, oh shit, Jason Robertson, RFA. There's no way he's going anywhere.
Yeah. All right, with that, Mike, let's move on to our next thing here. Unless you have any more thoughts on Charlie Coyle 6x6.
That's pretty wild, but I mean, in a few years, it's gonna be a great deal.
No, that one's never gonna be a great deal. Charlie Coyle's going to have 16 points next year.
In a few years, at the trade deadline, you're going to be hearing about the Blue Jackets trying to get a deal done to ship out Charlie Coyle.
Can't wait for him to get bought out, and we have to talk about it for 5 more years. Mike, you hear about this whole Edmonton Oilers coaching controversy?
Yeah, so what I saw is that they even though the Knights fired Bruce Cassidy, do the Oilers still have to request permission to interview him?
So he's not fired. He's relieved of his duties. He's still on the payroll at Vegas.
I'd be so pissed if I was Cassidy right now.
Yeah. Or, you'd have your feet kicked up at Cancun, sitting around doing nothing and making, whatever, $4 million a year. Yeah. Making that sweet Vegas quiche.
That cheddar.
While NFL kickers get a nicer suite than you because they make more than you. But
shout out Cam Dicker, the kicker.
Dude, shout out Brendan Aubrey. He was making like 3 Bruce Cassidys worth of money a year.
Dude, shout out Dustin John Hopkins.
He kicks so well that he'll knock the cancer right out of you.
Dan, the Carlson kicking man.
We got to stop talking about kickers. We got to stop.
Okay.
We got to stop talking about kickers. I noticed that you didn't call out your boy, the Bass Man.
He was hurt all last year. Yeah. Weak body, weak mind.
I watched 18 games of Commanders football, and I could not tell you who the kicker was. It was a rotating suite of guys. Joey Sly was there
Hopkins
for a minute, but that was 2 seasons ago. Hopkins has been.
Oh, you guys let him walk, right?
Hopkins? Yeah, we let him walk, which was a mistake because we've had we traded for Jake Moody at one point, and Jake Moody fucking sucks.
Yeah. We got to move on after I say this last point. But Hopkins wasn't like
not Jake Moody.
Yeah, Hopkins wasn't like oh my god, one of the best kickers in the league, but he was solid. He's a solid kicker.
Yeah, he's consistent, and since then we've just had a bunch of kickers come through who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, so that's fun. Thanks, Adam Peters.
What side of the barn is considered broad? I've never got that phrase.
The broadest side.
Okay. Anyway, back to hockey.
Guess what? Some sides of a barn are narrow, Mike. Some sides are broad.
Oh. I guess it means like if it's like most barns are rectangular, so I guess it's like the longer sides are the broad ones. Okay.
Yeah. So
still, I feel like the not as broad sides are still pretty big.
Well, if someone could hit the narrow side of a barn but not the broad side of a barn, I'll have a conversation.
Boomer bust.
Anyways, Mike. So basically what happened is Edmonton reportedly made a request to Vegas to interview Bruce Cassidy to potentially be their head coach. Vegas said, "You're in our division, so not going to happen." Yeah. Which your initial thought is, wow, I didn't know Vegas could do that. I thought they fired Bruce Cassidy. You look into it, it's like, oh, he just was relieved of his duties. He technically is still employed by the organization. I wonder if Tortorella ever texts him. And then your third thought should be, wait a minute. Edmonton hasn't fired their coach yet.
See, I didn't. I just figured they did. I also want to say I'm dumb. That doesn't make sense because you always hear about, like, when people talk about, like, oh, they need to fire their coach, you'll hear people saying, like, especially if it's a bad team who's fired multiple coaches in, like, the last, like, handful of years. They're like, yeah, well, the owner doesn't want to have another fired coach on the payroll. So that makes sense. He's still getting paid by Vegas. So that makes sense that they'd be like, you have to request permission to interview him. That is funny that, I wonder if Chris Knobloch saw that report, what he's thinking.
Well, maybe over the last 3 months, while Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl steadily told the media about how you're a bad coach, you probably should have been signaled into the fact that they were going to be looking in a new direction this offseason.
And can I also be honest with you?
You think Evan Bouchard's going to be really beat up when they kick Chris Knobloch to the curb?
Can I be honest? Chris Knobloch should be fired. He's in the same league with Jay Woodcroft in that, like, they can't read the room. They have no self-awareness, and they would say things in interviews, and you just want to scream, like, dude, you have 2 of the best 10 hockey players in the world, and you're just leaning on them. You're not a good coach, asshole.
Yeah. Jay Woodcroft would sometimes be on there, and he'd be like, well, it's just when you have 2 guys taking up so much of the cap space, it's really hard to get other things going. And I'm like, wait. Did this guy just say it's hard to coach a winning team because you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl?
He had such an evil face. He had like a Bond villain face. Still does.
Jay Woodcroft? I just always think that his hair looked like he had just put shoe polish in it and slicked it back so that no one would know he was going gray.
This piece of shit. Slick back hair. Listen to New Year's Eve.
White board shorts. Mike, the one other piece of news, something that you and I were getting into a little bit before the show here. Charlie McAvoy suspended 6 games for a slash on your beloved Zach Benson. It was Zach Benson, right?
Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charlie McAvoy will start the year sitting on the bench, watching as, just like in the playoffs, Pasternak has to do everything for the team, while Charlie McAvoy does nothing. So, what do you think of this, Mike? Is this too much, enough, or just right for going full Malice in the Palace on Zach Benson?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to give him anything ridiculous. So like 6 games is fine. Bruins might start their season with like a slightly rough record, 2-4,
Now, what if
whatever.
I
I
told
don't
you?
know, whatever.
You say not much, but what if I told you that is nearly 1 or 10% of the entire season?
Nearly. That's like a pretty 10% of the season is like 8 point something. What 8.2, I believe.
Yeah,
We 10% of the
good
entire
math.
season.
Yeah.
Fuck me, I'm good at math. Um, yeah. So I guess they start 0-6 and then they end up missing the playoffs by like just a few points. That'll be a heartbreaker for them, but also they deserve it because they're Boston and fuck Boston. Sorry, Boston. It's just like it's a regional sports thing. Where as a Buffalo fan, we will forever be at odds. So fuck you.
You see Hamilton's getting a PWHL team?
Dougie?
No, Dougie Hamilton is not getting a PWHL
Oh,
team.
the city, Hamilton in Ontario. Hamilton, Ontario. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were
Which is
saying
not
like
a city
Dougie Hamilton.
I was familiar with until they announced this.
PWHL team.
Which
Yeah.
if I may interject something so bold, why not just put 2 teams in Toronto? Why the fuck did you have to go to Hamilton?
I can't have 2 teams in Toronto. Who has 2 teams in the same city besides LA?
In New York.
Or New York? But they play in different areas,
And Chicago with baseball.
Yeah, one's north side, one's south side. That's why no one goes to White Sox games.
I've only been to the White Sox Stadium once, and it was for a Savannah Bananas game.
Yeah. People also don't go to White Sox games because to give like groundbreaking sports analysis, they suck, from my understanding.
I mean, they have what's his face, Murakami, who's just hammering home run after home run. So now there's a reason to go to White Sox games.
Bangers. Good for him.
Although, to be fair, the Cubs have had like 2 10-game win streaks, so maybe it's just a good year for Chicago sports. 4th pick in the NBA draft.
I started that
by going to the Cubs game.
I told you they were down. They were down by like 4 or 5 runs, and I showed up. And they just came back and won in the 9th.
Well, thank you, Mike, and I'll make sure that Crow Armstrong and Bryce Harper and whoever else thanks you. I ran out of Cubs players fast. I'm not really a baseball guy. I know Pete Crow Armstrong.
Also, I know like this podcast 33 minutes in, we haven't gotten to like our main topics, but I will say if you're in Chicago and you're gonna you want to get an Italian beef, do not get one at Wrigley Field because it was the worst Italian beef I've had since the times I visited.
It would be fucking wild if someone was in Chicago and went, I really want an Italian beef. You know what? I'm going to buy tickets to a Cubs game to go get an Italian beef.
Yeah, like I didn't. I went there. I was like, I'll get a Wrigley dog. Then I walked to the place. Like, I have Italian beef. I haven't gotten one yet. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and grab one. I was like, wow, I wish I wouldn't have. I should have just got a Wrigley dog and called it a day.
Next time you're here, we'll go to one of the hot dog places I know. Get you a good Wrigley dog.
Oh, I googled that, like good hot dog places in Chicago while you were in Paris.
Paris.
I didn't go to any, but I googled it.
Hey, I know 2 places we can go in the north side. Anyways, Mike, no one's here to listen to Hot Dog Talk. Or if you are here to listen to Hot Dog Talk, comment below and tell us more Hot Dog Talk.
Here we go. North side.
That's a lot of work for you.
It was.
Mike, that's all the news and notes I got. Anything else pop up that you need to talk about here?
Nah, let's gonna start talking about these playoffs.
Well, let's talk about the playoffs. Mike.
What?
You pitched this to me. This is a little idea just called the Case 4, where we're going to go through, and the conceit is simple. We're going to give you the case why the remaining teams can win in the conference championship against the Avs or the Canes. For those of you who have not been keeping super close attention on the NHL world, the Canes and Avs have rolled over every team in their path so far like they are speed bumps that are too low.
Wild beat the Avs that one time.
Yeah, they won that one game. The worst game the Avs have put on in what must have been 2 years.
Yeah.
But the Canes especially, who you can say what you want about weak competition, they haven't had the hardest schedule. I mean, Ottawa, people are like, Ottawa's a good team. But, like, Ottawa's trying to be the Hurricanes and doing a much worse job of it. So let's not start playing Ottawa's a good team until they win something. But they rolled through Ottawa. They absolutely crushed Philly, who, once again, maybe not the strongest team, but hey, maybe the regular season matters because the 1 seed got to play Ottawa and Philly and didn't have to play fucking Montreal in the second round. Or the Lightning. So maybe
the NFL. The 1 seed matters.
Win more games. But we're going to make the case for why every remaining team could beat them and go on to the Stanley Cup final. Or in the Wild's case, go on to the conference championship to get rolled by, presumably, the Knights. So, Mike, why don't we start with the aforementioned team? Currently down 3-1 to the Colorado Avalanche with their final game to play tonight. Why can the Wild beat the Avs?
Because I think next to Vegas, actually, when you factor in like their top defensive pair, I think the Wild have like the closest top 5 to the Avs to challenge them. So like obviously the Avs aren't scared to just go put all the dogs on the same line together because they have Skog, Mack, and Natchez on their top line, and then Taves and Makar on the same defensive pair. And that's just fucking a murderer's row. The Wild, they go Krill, Hartman, Zuccarello. When you think of like their top 5 guys, it would be Krill, Hartman, and Boldy, who they actually play on the second line most often. But then Hughes and Faber, fantastic top blue line pair. So they can challenge them there, and really that's who's been doing most of the damage. They're not getting the Wild need to get more help from their bottom 6 in that series, but because of that, you know, they got guns to match the Avs' guns. Wallstedt has been good. Like that last game, he played good. He just got caught on a couple of goals by the second line for the Avs of Nelson, Colton, and greatest trade line acquisition of all time, Nick Waugh. Too much to handle. But if they can, they're number 1 in PDO, which during the regular season, being number 1 in PDO is bad because it's 82 games. And you're eventually going to regress. In the playoffs, not as many games. So hit that PDO and ride it, baby.
Getting super PDO hot's a good thing.
Yep, ride it to 16 wins. They're also they're number 1 in shots blocked, so they're getting down there and they're blocking shots. So I think
such a dumb stat.
It is a dumb stat, but I think it's
it's a hockey guy stat. Hockey players love block shots.
I think shot blocks is a more important stat than hits given, personally.
If you let NHL players vote unhindered on the best player in the league, they'd probably vote whoever throws the most hits and blocks the most shots, which I assume would somehow be like Sasha Barkov or something, even though he didn't play this year.
So, the big thing for the Wild is the injuries, like Brodin and Joel Eriksson Ek, who's their 2C. With them being hurt, that's rough. Neither of them traveled to Colorado for this game. Now, Ek was on the ice skating around today back in old Minnesota, where I imagine it's probably still snowing there or something. I don't fucking know.
I wear a jacket outside today, and I live south of how north Minnesota is. So
there you go. If Wallstedt, like I said, has played well, if he can stay hot tonight and they can extend this series one more game, and maybe Joel Eriksson Ek comes back, it's a whole new series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say the Eriksson Ek injury has been very apparent because not only is he their 2C, but he's their best defensive forward.
Yeah.
And having someone who could put some real pressure, some real shutdown ability on McKinnon or Nick Waugh, their 2 best players, I think could do a lot of good for the team. My reasoning why the Wild can come back and win this is so much simpler, and that's simply that they have the best player. Quinn Hughes has been unbelievable in this playoffs. He's been unbelievable. Like, his just that guy's ability to move a puck and skate and get back and play defense and get in passing lanes and disrupt shit. It, like, every single game, I'm like, as soon as there's, you see Quinn Hughes' little nerd face and long hair come over the boards, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm about to piss my pants. I'm my bladder's so full, but I gotta sit here for 45 seconds and watch what he's gonna do.
You know how You know, Steph Curry takes threes where like if any other player took that, they get screamed at by their coach, but it's Steph and he makes it.
Threes, you say?
Yeah. What?
What? What were you saying?
Steph does take a lot. Steph does take those like those stupid threes where like any other player would be like, that is such a bad shot because it's
I don't think
Steph.
that's
He's
what
the
he's known
greatest three.
for.
Yeah, he's obviously known for it, but Steph hits those shots where it's like any other player who's not the greatest 3-point shooter in NBA history. That's a bad shot. Hughes is kind of like that in that he makes moves and does things in the offensive zone as a defenseman. Where if any other defenseman tried it, they'd probably like it would totally like end the offensive zone possession. They'd lose the puck. It'd be going the other way. But Hughes pulled it off. I watched that goal he had last game where he just dipsy doodled around the fucking Avs defender, put on the brakes, and backhanded that beautiful pass for just a tap in by who it doesn't matter who scored the goal because it was all Quinn Hughes basically.
I feel like it was
I
Ryan
watched it on
Hartman, but I
repeat.
can't remember either. Yeah,
Yeah, like so many times. It might have been Nico Sturm. I can't remember, but
it was a Ryan Hartman, Nico Sturm style player. Yes.
yeah, it was beautiful. I love Quinn Hughes, and I'll cut it off there because when we get to talking awards later, I have more to say about Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, no kidding. The other reason I've written down is just also having the best goalie in a series, right? Like Jesper Wallstedt is firmly a top 4 goalie in the playoffs because most of the teams left in the playoffs don't have one of those top flight goalies, which is maybe a quiet signal to the league about the changing of the guard at the top, or maybe it is a signal that actually you don't need a really good goalie when you have just electric scoring. But Jesper Wallstedt, I think, is a top 4 goalie left in the playoffs, and sometimes those guys just get outrageously hot, and you're not going to score on them. I mean, think about Connor Hellebuck in the gold medal game. Like sometimes having the best goalie is just all that matters.
Yeah. The Avs are among some of the lowest remaining teams left. They allow only 26.9 shots on goal, so shots that actually get to the goalie. And so I feel like that'd be a big thing for Minnesota. It's just like Blackwood, very similar to Kemper when he got a ring. He's protected by a great team in front of him, so the workload doesn't get too big. I'd be peppering Blackwood, many shots as possible.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Carolina Hurricanes it, right? Just
Yeah,
keep
high
shooting
danger,
until the
low
expected
danger.
goal percentage gets high enough to where it says you should win. The Carolina Hurricanes, how many rings would they have won if we gave it out just based off of analytics telling you who should win? 30 rings at this point?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're going to get one actual one this year. Mike, let's move on. Let's stay in the Dirty West.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Ducks and Golden Knights, a series that has went to overtime last night. Had that crazy, super illegal hit by Braden McNabb. Super dirty hit.
That was the dumbest thing ever. Can I vent? Like after that hit, I was like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
rooting for the Ducks now," because, or no, I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm rooting for the Knights now," because that was a bullshit. Like he just like was it interference? Absolutely. He hit the dude in the chest, and it was just unfortunate that it was up against like the spot on the ice where it was. So whatever his face is got hurt, but like that wasn't
Whatever his face.
a what?
Ryan Poulin.
Paulie, yeah, like that wasn't an egregious hit. That was just like a typical interference call. I mean, it would be like if in the NFL, like if you committed like just standard pass interference, but the guy came down funny and got hurt, and they were like, "You're out of the game. You're a violent man." It's like that's not my fucking fault.
But like it doesn't work with your NFL comp because he hit Poulin 95 seconds after he passed the puck away.
That's what I'm saying. It was interference, but it was just standard interference. It wasn't like, "Oh my god, you tried to kill the man."
If I can absolutely tank our SEO for a second by having a very mid take on this, it was an unnecessary and violent hit. It wasn't dirty.
I think I've just realized that I'm 33 and I can definitely tell when I watch hockey now that I'm over 30 because there's been some calls where I'm like, "What the fuck's happening to the game, man? What's happening?"
Has there been a single fight that you've seen this round? Like an actual like drop the mitts, square up, start throwing punches.
No, I mean there were some in the Sabres Bruins series, but when you get to the playoffs, if you're not like ahead in the game by at least a couple goals, 2 or 3, you like have to be smart and be like, do you want to drop the gloves and potentially put us in a bad position?
We'll tell that to
You know,
Braden McNabb, who hit Ryan Poulin 75 seconds after the play and got tossed from the game.
Pulling's a puss.
We'll start with the Ducks.
Quack,
What
quack.
is the case for the Ducks to beat
So
the Avs in the conference championship?
this is the team that I have the fewest notes on. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have one note on them. Do you want to know what it says on my handwritten notes today? It
Does it
says,
say something about Emilio Estevez?
nope. The Mighty Duck Man, I swear it. Nice call. Nice reference.
Thank you.
No, it just says, wild card, bitches. Yeehaw! Because they're this team who, like, the Pacific was weak, you know, and then the bottom half of the West was weak. So most years they probably wouldn't make the playoffs. But they got all these, they're a mix of young players and, like, older dudes who are just like, other teams were like, we don't want that contract, so you take them, Chris Kreider. And, like, you just, like, they're vibing right now. They're vibing. They have, like, there's no player on that team when you look at it where you're like, oh my God, this one player is just racking up the points. It's like evenly spread throughout it. Bennett Sinek, one of my favorite rookies this year. Sinek, yeah, one of my favorite rookies this year. There's a fun team, and they're a total wild card.
Man, that'd be really funny if they actually were a wild card team, but unfortunately they were third in their division, so they are not.
I meant in the playoffs, like, as far as.
I know, but it would have been really fun.
Yeah.
We could have called them the wild card Ducks, and it would have had dual meaning.
Sure.
I think wild card is objectively correct. My note on them, it's a little bit more subtle. It's basically that there's like this, the floor to the Ducks is a lot higher than we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like 3 lines deep of just quality NHL players to super high upside guys on their way up. I mean, like, you look at this team a few years ago, and it was like, well, they need Mason McTavish to hit, or otherwise they're fucked. And now Mason McTavish is like, what? They're 3C? Like, they're 10th most important player on the team?
Yeah.
I mean, they have Cutter Gauthier, who's had a great playoff. Your boy Troy Terry, Leo Carlson, Jackson Lacombe, who is now the hope of American hockey. Michael Granlund, Chris Kreider, John Carlson, who's having a good playoff.
I was
Like,
going to say, then you get to, like, those weird old guys in their mid-30s so other teams are offloading, like Killorn, Granlund, Carlson.
Yeah. Trouba. But they just have, like, they have, like, a way higher of a floor than we gave them credit for, because during the regular season, they just had a terrible year. I mean, like, they made the playoffs. It is a lot better than expected, but they had an incredibly negative goal differential. They had no defense, but hit playoff time, like, you know, they kind of locked in, and some of that's coaching, and you know, that's a hornet's nest that we can kick at some point in the near future if they're still alive, or it's some kind of post-mortem on them about how they brought in Quenneville. Quenneville did exactly what you would expect, but it does compromise the team's likability because Quenneville abided by extreme misconduct under his organization that there's evidence that he was knowledgeable of,
and never felt the repercussions of it.
Yeah, I mean, he got kicked out of the league for effectively what, 2 years, 3 years?
Well, yeah, I think it was like 2 years. Yeah,
and he missed out on winning 2 rings with Florida because those are the 2 years they won rings. So there's something there, but it's not like Quenneville doesn't have a case full of trophies at this point. So it's not, you know, it didn't tank his entire professional life or anything, and now he's back in the league. And I think that, you know, now we've added all the disclaimers onto Joel Quenneville's a bad person, and sports are a morally complicated thing, and you probably shouldn't root for bad people. Or, you know, to make it even a little bit more nuanced, Joel Quenneville has done extremely bad things in the past. I don't know if he's a bad person per se, or if he's atoned for that, or what's going on behind the scenes.
Even if he didn't do, like, an explicit bad thing, like, even if he didn't, like, cover up what was going on, he was negligent to it as the head coach of the team, and there's something to say for that.
With evidence that he was knowledgeable of it as well.
Yeah.
And swept it under the rug because they were in the middle of a playoff run in his days in Chicago. If you don't know what we're talking about, there are better sources than us to look into this. The Too Many Men podcast has gone over this in the past and does an exceptional job. The Athletic has reporting on it. Just go look into Quenneville's past with Chicago. But this team locked in defensively. They've been a lot better defensively. They have a very good goalie in Lucas Dostal, who has played very poorly.
I was gonna
And
say,
if at
yeah.
some point that does flip because it's fucking goaltending and that happens,
Uh,
Dostal in front of this much improved playoff defense is something to be a little bit afraid of.
yeah. I mean, he posts like that 906 that he had the other night, only letting in 3 goals, was actually one of his best games. I mean, they beat the Oilers, who that makes sense because that series was just a shootout because they have shit goaltending. But they're tied with the Knights with Doe still having an 8.78 save percentage, and they're somehow pulling loss. But that, like you pointed out earlier, that is the Ducks. Terrible goal differential, but they got an offense, and we'll see what happens.
And even like in these playoffs specifically, like in this second round series, you know what? They've had a couple of games, sure, where they've let the score run up a little bit. There was a 6-2 game they had against Vegas that they lost. But in general, this series, they've kept the scoring low. They've stayed in it. They've had 2 games go 4 goals or higher by one team, and they have pushed a couple games to overtime. Now, obviously, the Oilers series was a whole different beast. They had those games ran up the score a little bit, but it's just like this team has a much higher floor than we gave them credit for. And if Dostal can click into place, they're not the Flyers. They're not just like a rollover team that maybe is heading nowhere. They're not benching their Matvey Michkov. They're a competent organization that's just a tier below the top flight teams. Maybe 2 tiers.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. But now let's flip to the other side of this matchup, Mike. And our final team in the West. What is the case for the Golden Knights to make the Stanley Cup final over the Colorado Avalanche?
I mean, their top dogs are cooking. Like I mentioned earlier, like Marner and Eichel are currently 1-2 in points in the playoffs. Howden and Dorofeyev are tied for the most goals in the playoffs. When Hart stepped in for Hill, the first couple games were not great, but since then he's like slowly continued to improve. Now he's sitting at like a 912 save and a 249 goals against, despite facing the most shots in the entire playoffs. He's gotten better. And there's another guy who you can Google to read about his controversies. Yeah. But like similar to what I was saying about the Wild, because Vegas has such a strong like top line, top defensive pair and top first line, if Hart gets hot, like and plays well, like they can easily challenge the Avs.
Yeah, and Hart has had some exceptional games where he's actually looked competent recently too. Specifically last night, game 5, and their game 3. It was in Anaheim. I remember that, but I can't remember which game it was, or maybe it was in Vegas. It was early in the series. It might have been. It was either game 3 or game 2. He had a really good game too, so he is starting to kind of click into place. As
game
a
1
goaltender.
He only let in 1 goal. It was probably that one.
That might have been it. And we've seen what Vegas can do with competent goaltending. They're kind of like, funny enough, they're kind of like the Avs in that way. The other thing is, I think Vegas is a little bit of a sleeping lion where they've had 2, kind of middling series. I mean, Mammoth dragged too many games out of them. Now they still, like all year, they haven't looked like what we expected them to look like. And still in the series against Anaheim, they're starting to heat up slightly, but still haven't really completely unlocked everything. I mean, you shouted out that Dorofeyev and Howden are tied 7 goals apiece. Marner also outrageously good, 16 total points, 6 goals. But everyone else on the team, it's kind of like, all right, we're waiting for it, right? Like the Barbashev-Eichel line just has not gotten it going offensively yet.
That's what I was going to point out, is like you look at the top line, Eichel's cooking, and it's helping Dorofeyev cook with the 7 goals in the playoffs. But then you go to the left side, and Barbashev, he has to step it up if this team wants to win this series and then challenge the Avs. And then kind of same thing can go down there. Marner's cooking, Brett Howden's doing well. William Karlsson at the center hasn't had as much of an offensive impact. He's a great two-way guy, but he hasn't had as much of an offensive impact. So those are some of the guys on those top 2 lines who, if like they kick it into gear and also start contributing more offensively, like they can be dangerous. Also, just like in general, their bottom 6. Like they need someone to get hot down there, whether it's Thomas Hertl, Brandon Saad, Nick Dowd. One of them has to get hot for them to put up a fight. And I think we also, I don't love the Knights. They have so many names on defense, and I just don't like how they're playing.
I mean that like the classic like Knights Cup team had a true like elite 1D. And at the time they had Pietrangelo in rare form and Shea Theodore in rare form. Now they don't really have that anymore, which is a little bit of a problem, especially when you're talking about going up against a top two pair that includes Cale Makar and Devon Taves.
Yeah.
You definitely need something out of their trade pieces, Hanifin and Anderson, who are supposed to be. I mean, like those guys would be like elite second pair guys and okay first pair guys, but
I
they're
don't
not
think
really getting much out of either guy. I mean, like I think Hanifin's kind of feasting on the power play.
I'll be honest, I don't know if that's what they wanted when they made the move for Anderson and inked him to the extension. Then this year they made Anderson, I said that. And then this year they make the move for Hanifin, and like that's their second pair defensive line. I think they were hoping they were going to pair them back up and they'd be their top pair defensive line. It just
Yeah,
hasn't been that. Like Anderson's supposed to be the more offensive guy between the two. He has 2 assists in the playoffs. That's it. What are we doing here, bud?
I will say, you mentioned Hurdle earlier. I also think Hurdle's a guy who's been performing really well, and the puck's just not going in the net. Kind of like Eichel. Like Eichel finally got one, and maybe that's like going to cascade down now.
Literally just one, his only goal.
Yeah, it was his first of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But he just got it. So I'm kind of like, okay, is this the start of something? But
Yeah.
I think that there's a chance that in like we'll look back 3 games into the conference championship, and Hurdle and Eichel will have combined for like 7 goals in 3 games, and the Avs will be down 2-1, and we're like, whoa, where was this team? Just wanted to look this up real quick, by the way. You mentioned the extension for Rasmussen, or sorry, Noah Hanifin.
No, Rasmus. Which one did they trade for last year? Was it Hanifin or Anderson? I get them mixed up.
Rasmus Anderson was this year. Hanifin was last year.
Okay, so Hanifin was the one they traded for and then inked to an extension.
Hanifin, $7.35 million per year.
That's gonna be such a great contract in a few years.
You definitely need a little bit more out of him.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, let's any more notes? You want to know how someone could really beat the Avs?
Putting your stick in the neck of Nathan McKinnon, or
you kind of beat me to my joke. I was gonna have a whole analysis bit where I was gonna be like, roll your top defensive pair hard against their top offensive line. That has worked in the past, shutting down their top line. Even now that they have a lot more depth, just having your like elite defensive players roll against them. I mean, in the past, it was like it was the classic like Eichel and Stone hard pairing against McDavid, beating Edmonton in that series. Your other option would obviously be to wait for McKinnon to go to eat a smoothie, sneak just a little bit of sugar in there. He's done. He's out for the playoffs. You put 1 packet of sugar in there, Nate McKinnon is going to be in the hospital for the next 2 weeks.
I'd say to push back on that, the real strategy is you put your fourth line out there and you tell them like, hey, 2 of the 3 you are about to get suspended. But as long as those guys are out the rest of the series.
I just love the idea of like Tomas Hertl being out there with knives taped to his stick. And I was just go, does Tomas Hertl? And he just starts swinging it like a baseball bat.
Yeah, he still only gets like
still
only gets like a 2-minute minor for slashing, while Brady McNabb just makes like a basic penalty and is labeled a villain. Disgusting. What happened to the game I loved?
What happened to this country? All right, Mike, let's move over to the Eastern Conference, where there is less options. Not a lot less options, but there is one less option for us to talk about because the Hurricanes are 8-0 and have already moved on to the conference finals. So let's start with the enemy of your Buffalo Sabres, the Montreal Canadiens. Mm-hmm. What is the case for the Canadiens to make the Cup final?
Similar to what I pointed out with Wild, like they're third in PDO. Very like good high shooting percentage team. Their speed, and I've noticed this very heavily in watching the Sabres series, because we have been so many times we've been like frantic and scrambling and out of position because the way that the speed at the top end of the Canadiens line can just cause chaos. They're the first team in takeaways, and that's not by mistake. And so because of that, they can just get you out of sorts and they can score quick. So because of like that shooting talent, there's a world where into the they get into the Eastern Conference Finals and they face the Hurricanes, who are going to try to put as much pucks on net, and they're also very good at limiting shots against them. There's a world where, because of that speed and that shooting talent of the Canadians, they can overcome that. Hey, we're not going to get a lot of shots on net, but we're going to pepper 1,000-year-old Freddie. We're not going to pepper him, but we're going to snipe 1,000-year-old Freddie Anderson. And also, like, they're like that shooting percentage tracks with the fact that they're second with 7.71 goals above expected.
Jesus.
Or wait.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, goals above expected. So, and they're also kind of like, because of who they are and the way their team's built, with like so much of these young great players, Slafkovsky, Caulfield, Suzuki, and you think of them, like I said, as such a fast team. They're also like sneakily physical.
Yes, they're a very physical team.
Yeah, they're sneakily physical. Like, when you think of the style of the Canadians, it doesn't jump to mind, but they actually are a physical team. And then also, they're going to get a bunch of power plays because of the way Guile just flops. He's one of the greatest floppers in the league. He's like SGA out there. He takes like a little tap and he like just does a full like dive onto his face. Bitch.
Their depth piece have been playing so well. Like, I mean, it's become a whole thing with Kirby Dach being like,
fuck Newhook. As a Sabres fan, kind of say it. Fuck Newhook.
And Alex Newhook.
Yeah.
I think kind of the case that it's like, how can they beat Carolina? It's like at some point their top guys would have to start performing, right? Like, you just have to bet that at some point, Juraj Slafkovsky has scored 4 goals. 3 of them were in the first game of the playoffs. At some point, you have to think he will be more consistent than 1 goal every 8 games. Cole Caulfield has, like, he finally got a goal in this series, but he has 3 goals in the playoffs. Even, like, Nick Suzuki has had a good playoff, not a great playoff. Like, you kind of expect those guys to break out. Obviously, like, they've had crazy play from Alex Newhook and Kirby Dach. But they've also got good play from Lane Hudson. But outside of that, like, their top guys haven't done a ton in these playoffs. Like, even Demidov, who's not like a top guy, but is a rising star on this team supposedly, hasn't done much. So you have to assume at some point that's going to click into place. Like, as the sample size gets larger, you would expect these guys to have the play of the kind of games the kind of season that they had. I mean, even like Slafkovsky is shooting exceptionally poor for how well he's shooting, right? Like, he is getting opportunities, he is taking shots, and the puck's just not going into the net.
Yeah.
So the bet here on how does Montreal beat Carolina and make it to the Stanley Cup final is that, like, it's a 2-pronged bet. First off, you're betting that, like, Freddie Anderson isn't going to be, fucking Patrick Waugh for the entire playoffs, right? Like, at some point he's going to stumble and let some goals in. And second, that all these offensive productive pieces on Montreal are going to start getting the puck actually into the net at the top of the lineup instead of having to beg and plead and sacrifice a virgin to whatever god they believe in for Alex Newhook to put another fucking goal in to save them.
Yeah. So, and also, like, this is like a stat that can sometimes be like an old hockey fan stat that it can sometimes be overrated, but they're like among the teams left.
Wins. If you say face-off,
yeah, like 56.3%.
I am ending this podcast if you talk about face-off wins.
The only team, like, Carolina's not 46.57%. Like, they're hoping they play the Sabres because that's probably the only team left in the playoffs they could actually win more face-offs than, because we're fucking god awful.
By the way,
face-off that.
Alex Newhook scores 1 goal in their 2-1 win over Montreal in Game 7. Prior to that, he had 1 playoff
against
goal.
Tampa.
What did I say?
You said against Montreal when they're playing themselves.
That is correct. It was against Tampa. In 38 previous games, he had 1 playoff goal. In 4 games against Buffalo, he has 5 goals.
It's been a problem. It's been painful. Like I said, fuck Alex Newhook. Also, they've been getting some
He's
good play
shooting.
like on their blue line. Like obviously Dobson, Hudson are like their two big names, but like Carrier's been playing really well and Matheson. Like I feel like some of their other defensemen have come to life.
Alex Newhook in this Buffalo series is shooting 29.5% on 17
I try to
shots.
change the subject. I don't want to talk about no Alex Newhook no more. All right, I can't. Don't go ahead and talk about no Alex Newhook.
5%. And Mike, you'll be happy to know, sporting
What?
a sick 39.1% in the face-off circle.
Oh, terrible,
Piece
terrible.
of shit. Slick back hair.
Yeah.
Lives for New Year's Eve. I think that the only case I can make for Montreal to beat Carolina the way Carolina has looked is that, like, honestly, at some point Freddie Anderson has to slip up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not Dominic Hasek. He's fucking Freddie Anderson. He's 49 years old.
I mean, this might be his last year. I think it's
Freddie
definitely his
Anderson?
last year as a Hurricane because he's old
Yeah.
and expensive, coming off that 10 mil a year
So next
contract.
year he's going to be on Toronto.
He's definitely Edmonton. I'm calling it.
Mike, Freddie Anderson started playing hockey. He has been playing hockey since Alexander Ovechkin was 6 years old.
Yeah, they're ready to turn. They're ready to turn the net over to the bussy.
I hate that. I can't believe you blew through my obvious lie so that you could say bussy.
Was that a lie? Yeah, the math doesn't work out. But I was just really excited to call
because they're
Brandon
the same
Bussy
age?
Bussy.
Is that why the math doesn't work out?
Are they? They're both like 40, right? Like how old is
Yeah,
Anderson?
they're both 40,
He's
I think.
pushing 40, right? Yeah.
I think Freddie Anderson is 40. I'm double checking that. Frederick Anderson doesn't say on his hockey reference.
They lost count. It's so high.
Oh my god, is he about to push 4 digits?
Also, while you're looking that up, I'm going to say one more thing.
36. He is not 40. He is 36.
Okay. Whether it's the Canadians or the Sabres, which it will be the Sabres, that Carolina faces in the finals, like this Taylor Hall thing can't keep up forever. I
like how
refuse to accept
both
it.
of us, our argument for how Montreal makes the Stanley Cup final is both of us just saying, these old guys on this team cannot possibly be this good for this long.
I refuse to think that Taylor Hall is going to be a Conn Smythe winner and Logan Stankoven is going to be the greatest goal scorer in the playoffs.
Listen, I'm just saying, the only team that lost the Mikko Rantanen trade was the Dallas Stars.
It's true.
Mike, let's move over to your team. What is the case for the Buffalo Sabres, the Wagon Sabres, to make the Stanley Cup final?
We're Vibesfield. We're the team of destiny. That's what it is.
You don't want to be
Team
vibe
destiny.
this late in the playoffs. You don't want to be vibe
No, no. I think one thing I think, and I'm sure people will jump in the comments and argue with me, but I don't really give a shit. I think this will be the best top 4 defensive unit Carolina will have faced. With Dahlian and Samuelson, followed by Byram and Owen Power. Owen Power one of probably like it's kind of funny. Owen Power, because he's a first round pick, he's kind of like quietly become one of the most disrespected defensemen in the league because he's not like Erik Karlsson offensively. So he doesn't really get enough credit for what he can do. On top of that, we've had like a depth scoring, like Benson obviously has had his coming out party, which I've been talking about all season, but dumb people who don't know puck are just finally starting to realize it.
Can I interrupt you for a second with a take?
Why?
I want to get your temperature on.
Mm-hmm.
Discounting the 3 above him, so discounting the Dahlian pair and who's he on a pair with? Samuelson? You just said?
No, it's
Power?
It's Dahlian and Samuelson, and then it's Byram and Power.
Yeah, so discounting Byram, Samuelson, and Dahlian. Is Owen Power the best defenseman that the Carolina Hurricanes would have faced in the playoffs? On his own, the 4th best defenseman on the Sabres. Is he the best defenseman the Hurricanes would have faced so far?
He might be between like Philly and
Ottawa. So Jake Sanderson, I guess.
They were playing defensive units that were like 1 to 2 defensemen deep, and then it was all just meh after that.
So Jake Sanderson, who in his 3 games playing, sported a 0.3% expected goals and 2 points.
What about what's his face?
Cam
Who
York.
you were like, what about what's his face? Who you were like, stop talking about him. I hate him.
Who was
Shabbat.
That?
Shabbat.
Shabbat's terrible, man. What do you want me to tell you? He played 124 minutes. He had a 0 expected goals and 0 points.
Top line defenseman, how dare you?
Shabbat sucks.
I mean, they faced like Sanheim and Cam York in the last.
Yeah, Cam York and Sanheim would be the only other argument. I think Owen Power's better than Jamie Drysdale or Rasmus Ristolainen, despite Ristolainen going a little nuts on the points in the playoffs.
Terrible defenseman.
So
he's my Shabbat.
So like saying that that's the best top two pairs, the Carolina Hurricanes, I think that's absolutely correct. My question is, like, are they facing 3 defensemen better than any defenseman they faced and 1 defenseman who's like on par? At least with Sanderson's performance in the playoffs. I think Sanderson's probably standard a better defenseman, but
you can make an argument that they're only facing 2 better, but I'm going to go ahead and say they're facing 3 better between Dahlin, Samuelsson, and Power.
Yeah.
Byram was pissing me off a little bit last night.
Because of all the penalties? 7 power plays for the Montreal Canadiens. 7.
And we still won. What a gritty one. What a gritty one for the boys. Yeah, and like I was saying,
if it hadn't gotten waved off after reviewing it for the 45 minutes.
The breakout by like the Norris, Benson, Doan line has been really good. Benson and Doan have been 2 of our most important players. Obviously, King Consta, Hellenius by My Chemical Romance.
You can't mush 2 nicknames together into 1 nickname.
This dude is such a dude. So he comes in, 20 years old, first playoff game, doesn't blink. Do me a favor. All right.
Instead of continuing to say him and this dude, can you at least say his name when you talk about him?
Consta Hellenius by My Chemical Romance. Okay, I know he would have gotten assists on the goal that got disallowed, but like he led centers in 5-on-5 ice time. He had the highest expected goals for, most scoring chances for. Obviously, what he was doing, Lindy loved it because within like the last, I think it was like 5 or 3 minutes, when we're trying to just like lock down and protect that lead, he's got the kid on the ice. All right. And you know what? You may be thinking, oh, he's a rookie. He had 1 good game. You know what that does? Throws off teams. Like, who's this young kid? We weren't expecting him. All right. And they changed the whole course. But outside of like my ridiculous over the top bias and homer rant on King Consta, I also think we have, I do think it's slightly a stressor with Buffalo's goaltending, that it is just like a back and forth thing of like, oh, that guy lost a couple games and didn't play great. Time to go back to the other guy. Oh, he's playing good. But both of them have done well with like rebounds per save and cutting those down. I think that's a big thing with Carolina because they're going to pepper you with shots, try to get those rebounds and chip them in. And then also, I think with the way we play defense and on the penalty kill, we can cut down. Like Carolina is probably, if the Sabres play the Hurricanes, Carolina will have more shot attempts every single game. But I think they're leading the playoffs in like shots on goal per game. I think the Sabres have the ability to cut down on the shot attempts that actually get to the net, and that could change things for them.
So here's what I will say about the goaltending thing. You never want to be the team ping-ponging goaltending in the playoffs.
Because once it gets to Game 7, you're like, oh, fuck. I don't know who to start.
But
yeah.
UPL came in, which I was gonna go through a whole thing about like if you weren't keeping up, it's goaltending. UPL came in as the presumptive starter in the playoffs, and they were on like a hard rotation between Luukkonen and Lyon during the regular season. But I think that we all kind of thought going into the playoffs, UPL was going to be the starter with Lyon as a relief guy where he was needed. And then UPL had a little bit of a rough start against Boston, and Lyon got super hot. So you rode the hot hand. Lyon struggled in a couple of games, and you went back to UPL. I don't think that that's like outrageous. Like, it's not as much like ripping one guy down and pulling another guy up, as much as it is like your presumptive starter is taking the net back over.
Yeah. What happened is like that last month or so of the season, like UPL played really well. We made the push. We won the division. Suck it, Tampa. And so we went with him to start the playoffs, and then he struggled a little bit. Lyon played great in the Boston series. I think the big thing that kind of made Lindy make the switch was Game 3, where like I brought up rebounds per save. Like Lyon just was struggling to corral pucks and shut shit down. And I think that's why I said, all right, like he's a little frazzled. He's Jerry. We're going to UPL, and UPL. I think UPL didn't get a lot of great help from, because, like I said about the Canadians, they cause chaos. They make you turn the puck over. They make your defensemen end up out of position. They make you look goofy. And it happened to the Sabres last night, and UPL, I think, responded pretty well with it. So, also, the Sabres would beat the Canes because it's vengeance for 2006. It's going to happen.
When Brett Hull's foot was in the crease.
No, when they beat us in the Eastern Conference Finals in 7. Fuck you, Rod Brindamore, by the way.
The reason, or the case for the Sabres to make the Stanley Cup final would just be like, hey, this team was outrageously good in the regular season. And it's one of those things where we're discounting them because of the name on the front of the sweaters, right? Like you see the Sabres logo, and I promise you I'm not taking shots here, Mike. I have been a Washington football fan my entire life, and they were the joke of the NFL for a long stretch there. The Sabres franchise has been a joke. And like to the point where it wasn't even funny anymore.
Yeah.
Like the Sabres became the Cleveland Browns with less quarterbacks.
We did Baskies last year, and like the Sabres would come up, and I'd be like, I'm gonna fucking talk about it to stop.
Yeah. Like the Sabres became such a joke that you look at this team and you go, it has to be vibes fueled. It has to be, it just has to be like not real. But man, is this team like fucking stacked? Like, yeah, they don't have an Eichel. They don't have a McDavid. They don't have one of those top flight HART quality guys. But part of that is because they don't hand out hearts to defensemen. And Rasmus Dahlin, firmly a top 5 defenseman in the league. Alex Tuch, not going to ever be a HART level top end guy. Not going to be a Selke top end guy.
Not a great series for him, to be honest with you.
Not a great series, but he had a phenomenal regular season. He's a guy who can keep possession of the puck. He's big. He's strong. You have Tage Thompson, who's a fucking pterodactyl out there and has not been shooting well. At some point, you expect that to tick in the right direction. And they just have like all these depth guys. Like you look at, the bottom, I don't know, you want to say bottom 9? Like their second to fourth line? Like there's guys on their fourth line. I mean, there's guys like way deep on this team that were 2 C's on other teams. Like Peyton Krebs and Josh Norris are scratching and scraping together for every minute they can get on the ice. Those are like quality players, and they are depth pieces on this Buffalo team because they're just deep. I mean, Josh Doan was a throw-in because the Mammoth wanted to get J.J. Paterka. They had Josh Doan and Michael Kesselring that they just were like, yeah, sure. Because they wanted J.J. Paterka. Like, both those guys are better than Paterka was this year. Like, this is just a team organized and composed of dudes who could just play fucking hockey. And their top prospect now, Constance Helenius, comes in and has an instant impact in his first game on the ice. The goal gets disallowed, but he was crashing boards. He has 0.6 expected goals for the playoffs. That is better than almost every player on the Ottawa Senators had in their entire playoff run. And he had that in one game. Yeah. Like, Owen Power is a former number 1 pick in what turned out to be not a great draft, but a former number 1 pick, draft. And it's just forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like the guys they picked up off the scrap heap over the last couple of years that, don't get me wrong, some of them are outperforming what they will be doing long term, but they're still quality guys that just inhibit depth roles. Like Logan Stanley, once again, not a great series for him, but he's a quality player who can soak up minutes. Jordan Greenway has been maybe too much of a feature, but he can soak up minutes. Like, it's just like, it's a very deep team. And I get, if you're going up against the Carolina Hurricanes and then presumably the Colorado Avalanche, those are also very deep teams that you definitely don't want to be up against in a normal situation. I mean, conference championship is a whole different animal, but they're depth teams. They're deep teams too, but I don't know, man. Like, yeah, Buffalo doesn't have the HART contender. Buffalo doesn't have the Vezina contender. Mm-hmm. But their depth can go toe-to-toe with anyone, but we just call them vibes fueled because they're the Sabres. They're a joke franchise.
14 years?
Yeah.
To be fair, like, the funny thing is, for the last probably 3 seasons, like, going into the year, when, like, insiders have talked to, like, GMs and, like, pundits and whatnot, they've said, like, the Sabres, like, have the roster to turn it around. We'll see if they do it this year. And they constantly have it. And they finally did. if we can get past the Canadians and Noah Ostlund can get healthy, that would be a massive boost to this lineup. If Lindy Ruff would finally put fucking Metza back on the third pair and Kesselring, that'd be
Yeah,
great
we
too.
definitely can't.
But
We definitely can't talk third pair
defenseman. Right?
Yeah.
We're so long in this podcast. This is like a Tyler Karkara basketball basket. We're going so long.
Damn, calling out the T-Carks. Any other thoughts you wanna drop on your beloved Buffalo Sabres on the way out the door here that don't involve third pair defensemen?
No, that was a like ridiculously gritty win last night, and they did what they needed to do. They survived, got out of there with the dub. We're heading back to Buffalo, tied 2-2. Love to see it.
Yeah, and so
I'm proud of you boys. I'm proud of you.
Just pretend that there's a lacrosse game and sell out KeyBank Arena.
Dude, the Bandits have won like 3 lacrosse championships, so a fun goal, right?
The Bandits make me hate Buffalo people because they won't stop talking to me about lacrosse, a sport no one watches.
What else are we supposed to talk about?
The Sabres! The Bills!
Now?
You have 2 teams. You have 2
Dude,
teams in that small fucking city that are worth talking about.
I would hate to be Brandon Bean and Joe Brady because it literally took one good year by the Sabres, and it's a hockey town again. Pressure's on, Bills. Get your shit together.
All right, I just wanted to run through real quick the awards here. We have the finalists for every award announced. In fact, we did a couple hours ago get the winner for the Calder, which is a unanimous vote for Matty Shafes. No big surprise there. Not even really much analysis to do.
Wild.
Matty Shafes, good. But let's start here. You just tell me if there's anything you disagree with or anyone not mentioned that you think should be mentioned.
I got notes.
Okay, so we'll start here with the Vezina. We'll start here with the Vezina.
Oh,
Mike, your finalists for the Vezina: Ilya Sorokin, Jeremy Swayman, Andrei Vasilevsky.
Vasi had a good year. Don't get me wrong. I think he got a slight bump because his team made the playoffs in name value. Logan Thompson was a better goalie this year, and I stand by it.
Yeah, Logan Thompson getting kicked off again. He's the Buffalo Sabres of goalies. He's just disrespected because he's Logan Thompson.
Yeah, and if you want to be like a nerd about it and pull up Money Puck or Natural Stat Trick, like Thompson beat out Vasi in so many categories. But I get it. There's a lot of these awards where you look at the finalists and there's people who you think about and you're like, oh, like person X, Y, and Z should have been up for this, but then you go, oh, they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. The Jack Adams. I'm just going down the list, so this could be in a weird order. So I'm just reading straight down the list of the finalists. Jack Adams, John Cooper, Dan Muse, Lindy Ruff. Just for people that aren't super plugged in, because I get it, hockey coaches can be weird. That is John Cooper, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Dan Muse, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Lindy Ruff, the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres. The Jack Adams goes to the best coach.
So I get it. These 3 all make sense. The one that stands out where it's a little iffy is Dan Muse for the Penguins personally.
Yeah.
I think you could have made a strong argument. I honestly think Martin St. Louis should probably be in there instead of Dan Louis. Dan Muse. I think that's the big one.
What's with the no love for Rod Brind'Amour? Is anyone on Carolina nominated for any award, and yet Rod Brind'Amour doesn't even get a finalist nod?
I mean, it's kind of funny because a big thing with Cooper this year was he should win it. He should have won it before.
Yeah.
Put him in there. And then Brind'Amour, it's no one said put him in there. He should have won one by now because they go in the playoffs and sit on their balls every year. The regular season they've had this year,
lost in the first round for the last 6 years.
Right, but the regular season the Canes had this year, they've had the last 5 years without the success at the end of the year. Also, I know you hate him, but Rick Tocchet did a good job with the Flyers.
Yeah, it just came in too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't care about the Masterson. Don't care about a lot of these. Calder, we already know. Demidov, Shafes, and Benek were all nominated for the Calder.
Can I make one comment on that, though?
Unanimously. Yeah, go for it.
Senekanickany, I love him. He's all gas, no brakes with his -16. He's -12. He's week 2 away. 60 points in 82 games. Where's the love for Snuggerud in St. Louis? I love me some Snuggerud, dude. 70 games, 51 points, a +16. Where's the love for Snuggerud?
If we're kicking off, I would say Jesper Wallstead would be my 4th.
Yeah, goalies for Calder, get out of here.
Back-to-back Calders going to defensemen, by the way.
We could just get a Hart for a defenseman. I'd be happy.
If
I'd
we could
cry
get a
tears of
HART
joy.
nomination for a defenseman, I'd be
Right?
happy. Mike, the Selke, also known as the award that no one really understands for the forward who demonstrates the most skill in the defensive component of the game. This is this is an award that goes exclusively to people who have the reputation as a guy who should win the Selke. Your nominees: Anthony Cirelli, Brock Nelson, Nick Suzuki. Presumably Nick Suzuki's going to win this.
He should, but also, like, as from a final standpoint, Anthony Cirelli, really? That's why they need to change the definition of this award, and they need to understand it's weighing the two. Defensive impact also with offensive impact, and I want justice for Jack Eichel. I want justice for Jack, god damn it.
Those guys, I mean, those three Buffalo, those three I almost called them the Sabres after that. Those three Vegas guys, Marner, Eichel, and Stone, deserve way more Selke love than they ever get.
Absolutely. We're on the same page there.
The Norris for the best defenseman who demonstrates throughout the season the greatest all-around ability. By the way, can I just want to rip off a quick take here? I think defensemen would have a very different rap. The conversation around them would be very different if we called them like center backs instead of defensemen. Because they have the word defense in their name, it's like, well, if he's not on the PK, is he really a defenseman? But if we just called them center backs, you know?
Center backs. Interesting term.
Anyways, your finals: Rasmus Dahlin, Cale Makar, and Zach Werenski.
Cale Makar is become just like so like consistently good that you kind of like overlook how good he is, and I get that. He's won one before. He's been there, dude. I wanted Quinn Hughes in that spot. Werenski's right. Dahlin I'll never kick out, obviously.
Yeah.
Hughes should have been in the spot for Makar.
Quinn Hughes should be under consideration for the HART. It was a great year for defensemen, don't get me wrong, because the two that aren't even listed on here that absolutely deserve a Norris. Like, in a regular season, both Mo Seider and Quinn Hughes should win the Norris.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I can't justifiably kick any of these guys off. By the way, also this Yahoo Sports article had autocorrect take over them, and it's listed as Cole Makar. And if his name was Cole Makar,
I just saw that.
Norris. That guy wouldn't have a Norris if his name was Cole Makar. Come on. But, like, there was 5 exceptionally good defensemen. It is outrageous not to have Quinn Hughes on this list. I'd, like, kick off any 3 of them. I think Werenski's going to end up winning. But I'm fine with kicking off any of them for Quinn Hughes, because Quinn Hughes should win this award. He was not only the best defenseman in hockey, he was borderline the best player in hockey this year.
Yeah, this is another one where if you came at me and were like, I want to make an argument for Mo Seider, I've been like, yeah, you're totally, like that's totally an understandable argument, but they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, Mo Seider has the 200-foot hockey guy argument. Like, that guy can play the entire length of the ice and is just like a classic giant fucking defenseman, like in the Victor Hedman style. Whereas as Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski, and Cale Makar are a little bit more in this like modern hybrid, like more of an offensive defenseman, but they're not a slouch on the defensive end kind of defenseman. And your HART Memorial Trophy given to the league's most valuable player. Your 3 finalists: Nikita Kucherov, Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid. Mike, what are your notes on this one?
I have one note. It says, ooh, the top 3 players in points this year. How original.
Yeah, I did. I simply, on my notes, it says, pull up money puck, sort by points, pick the top 3. Let's be honest. Like, Quinn Hughes should be on this list. This wasn't the year for like another goaltender to be on the list, but just the fact that it's McDavid, Kucherov, and McKinnon, and like some people I've heard talk about like Celebrini, and it's like, okay, Celebrini was an exceptionally good offensive player. Let's talk when he's doing a little bit more for everyone on the team.
Fair, but I mean, like, who had the best like? I don't know. I guess I would say like who had like the like McKinnon has a great team around him. He's on a line with fucking Marty Nietzsche and Gabriel Landeskog.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, give Celebrini some love. I'd even say give Nick Suzuki some love, dude. I know he's like 26 points behind McKinnon, but like what Suzuki does, you like watch hockey. What Suzuki does is unreal. He's one of my favorite players. I mean, not right now. Like during the series against the Sabres, I hate him in hopes that like someone Tanya Hardings him. But outside of that, one of my favorite players in the NHL right now. Also, Connor McDavid can't get out of the first round against the Ducks. We're gonna fucking give him a heart again. What a joke.
It's McKinnon's, right? McKinnon's gonna win it.
Uh, he did not win it last year.
Really?
Yes, because I continually keep forgetting Hellebuck, which is so funny because I'm such a mark for a goalie heart winner. I just keep forgetting about it. Yeah, it'll probably be McKinnon or Cooch, I think.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it was McDavid after the perception around him having them having a really bad year, despite the fact he had nearly 50 goals and 140 points.
He had 138 points in 82 games. That is insane.
All right, Mike. That's all I got for the awards finals. The only thing I feel really passionate about is the Quinn Hughes disrespect.
Yeah, that one upset me.
If he had got traded in September instead of January,
maybe
he would have been no question first ballot Hart guy.
Oh, that was like did you watch the Olympics, people, when you casted your votes? Disgusting. You know what is an interesting award?
Votes. What's that?
The Jim Gregory Award for Best GM.
Best GM.
Because I was looking at all the guys who got nominated. Who I'm scrolling, I can't find it, so it doesn't matter. But here
you want to read it off to you?
It was
Bill Guerin, Chris McFarland, and Pat Verbeek. Okay.
Yeah, Bill Guerin of the Wild, Chris McFarland of the Avs, and Pat Verbeek. I think Bill Guerin has the big one with the Hughes trade. I think the way Chris McFarland rebuilt that Avs team is gonna get him the win. But I was thinking this is obviously an award based off just last year, because there's some teams where the GM has spent the last 2-3 years building a roster and this finally hit and broken through. I guess Pat Verbeek's a little bit of that, but then also Pat Verbeek, it's what'd you do? You used a lot of high draft picks on good players.
Yeah.
Claps for you. But there's some other guys you could talk about and be same thing for coach of the year. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but I thought with the shit San Jose Sharks did this year, I thought what's his name? I jotted it down because I was never gonna Ferrigny for Utah. What he did was a great thing as coach, but they didn't make the playoffs.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing with GM of the year. There's guys who have spent the last 2-3 years building a team up, finally get back to being good, even if they were just outside of the playoffs, who probably could have used some love.
It's Andre Teruggi.
Probably could use some love. Andre.
Not Joel.
Yeah. So.
Well, couldn't put it better myself, Mike. I will say this is the first year where the voting for GM of the year ends after the second round instead of ends after the first round, where previously it continued on until the conference championship. So for the first time, Mike, if Anaheim loses, we will have a finalist for the award. Or I guess no matter what, because Bill Guerin is going to lose too. But for the first time in a very long time, we'll have a finalist for this award who is not in the conference championship, because before it was just 3 of the 4 guys in the conference championship were nominated. Yeah. All right, Mike, we got a couple of segments we always do at the end of the podcast here that we got to burn through. First off, our Wednesday night pre-action. One game on the docket tonight, Minnesota, Colorado, Game 5, potential closeout game here. If Minnesota wins by 25 goals, they have said that they will send the Colorado Avalanche home. So,
yeah,
what is your Wednesday night pre-action to this potential final game of the series?
I struggled to pick which player I want to go with, but I finally settled on one, and I'm going to say the headline is going to be Brock Nelson scores the OT winner to send the Avs to the Western Conference Finals.
Brock Nelson in OT. I'm going to go with a Matt Boldy hat trick. Still leaves the Wild 1 goal short of a comeback.
Oh, no.
And then this podcast will be up on Thursday before our games that day, so we don't really need to talk about them. We'll talk about them next week, unless something incredible happens. We do an emergency pod or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I guess if you want, you can tune into our live stream on Thursday and hear us talk about the games. Mike, last thing, Conn Smythe Watch, our weekly segment where we watch with the Conn Smythe. Now,
we just watch the trophy. We stare at it. See if it does.
We have seen it in person before, so
yeah,
we do have that ability. Now, Mike, our one rule for Conn Smythe Watch for the playoffs is we can only hand it out for what players have done so far without projecting forward.
Yes.
So, with 1.5 rounds in the books now, who are your top 3 on Conn Smythe Watch?
So, I mean, I'm going pretty chalk here with, like, the points leaders, but I feel like it's pretty fair. Like, Marner and Eichel, I know they don't, like, Eichel especially doesn't have the goals, but, like, what he does two-way and how he generates offense and what he does, he deserves to be in there. And obviously Marner, who it's his fault Toronto hasn't won a Stanley Cup, and it is his fault this year again because he wasn't there to help them. And then the third one, like, dude, like, I know he probably won't get love because he has a D next to his name because it's his position, but he's third in points, and Quinn Hughes is just on another level.
Yeah, my
And
number one
also
right now
just-
on Conn Smythe Watch is Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, and my last point is, like, people are like, oh, Freddie Anderson has a 1.12 GAA and a .950 save percentage. Play a real offense and then come talk to me, you geriatric.
How dare you
bully.
insult our beloved Philadelphia Flyers by claiming that Porter Martone wouldn't be the points leader if they had made it more than 4 games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I have Quinn Hughes. This is my number 1 on Conn Smythe Watch. Number 2, I have either Freddie Anderson or Logan Stankoven. Remember, we can only talk about what's happened so far, not project forward. And so far, Freddie Anderson has been the best goalie in the playoffs, and Logan Stankoven has been not the best goal scorer by, like, the numbers, but the best goal scorer by the numbers per game. And that line, the Blake, Stank, and Hall line, has been outrageously dominant.
Okay,
I think they're like 15-3 at 5-on-5 right now.
You want to talk what people have done so far? I'm more impressed with Dubes' 2.22 GAA and his 914 save percentage than I am impressed with Freddie Anderson.
I like that some of our bits extend to the fact where if the person we were talking about listened to this podcast, they would have no idea we were talking about them.
You would
like,
know.
Jakob
Like,
Dubas would have no idea that we are talking about him when we say Dubes.
Jacob Dobes. I'm making him American.
My third guy. I also went with the Vegas Golden Knight here, but I went a little bit different, Mike. How about the most elite goal scorer in these playoffs?
I know who you're going to say, yeah.
Pavel Dorofeyev, continuing his regular season outrageous goal-scoring prowess in the playoffs. 7 goals so far. Dragging bitch-made Tomas Hertl and Ivan Barbashev along with him.
Yeah. You couldn't come up with a more, like, Russian name than Pavel Dorofeyev. This is a Russian name. You gotta love it.
Can someone explain to me why this guy was nowhere and then last year broke out and this year was once again like a 35 goal scorer and now in the playoffs is continuing on? Where did this come from? Like, was anyone in 2022 talking about in the, you guys don't even know, but in the Vegas Golden Knight farm system, they have Pavel Dorofeyev. He's waiting to break out. Any day now, he's going to be the Zach Hyman of Vegas.
I mean, if you want me to keep it a buck, when you have Jack Eichel as your center, you're going to get some nice feeds and be set up pretty well.
Yeah, Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, Ivan Barbashev.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I could at least score 1 goal.
Everyone's distracted. Pavel Dorofeyev sitting there just in the middle because everyone forgot he exists.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, that is all I got. Any final notes or anything you wanna say about the Nichelle, as we call it? People who know.
I mean, the big thing is, go Sabres. Get it done, boys.
Hey, you want to give me like a? You know what? Here, let's do our plugs first. Mike, you got any plugs on the way out the door?
Follow us on the socials in the show notes. Watch us on streams because we're entertaining and funny, and we should have at least 500,000 concurrent viewers by now, but we don't. And also, like, I really, really want to get back to doing some written work, but I'm just a lazy piece of shit. So, but hopefully, if I do, go to townalone.com, check it out.
Yeah, you can see our socials in the description as well as the end of the pod if you're watching the video podcast. If you are listening to the audio podcast and you don't follow us on Spotify, be sure to follow us there. I know you have your own podcast platforms. You might not use Spotify. I don't use Spotify, but Spotify keeps yelling at me that we don't have as many followers as we should for a show our size. So whatever podcast app you're using, download Spotify, follow our show, uninstall Spotify, flip a middle finger to your phone, and then go about your day. If you like video podcasts and you like quick cuts between things, be sure to follow us on YouTube at Talent Alone Podcast. We also post shorts, which are funny moments.
And ring the bell.
Don't
ring the bell.
No one wants push notifications.
I do. I love them.
So be sure to subscribe to us there if you like the video content of what we're doing. We're probably gonna have some more stuff that's a little bit outside of the norm in the near future, including stuff that isn't just podcasts. So be sure you check that out. If you like our personalities, we also have a streaming channel that'll be linked in the show notes where we play video games and talk, as Mike alluded to a little bit earlier. So if you just like listening to us talk, feel free to hop in there. That's a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit less notes based.
You can watch a stream where I'm watching Sabres games and just making grunting noises.
Yep. And Mike, since we don't do shout-outs on Baskey, would you give us a one-sentence review of Tage Thompson's bank goal from last night's Montreal Buffalo game?
Sometimes you just have puck luck, brother.
Let's get out of here.